Hello everybody, Bomdagor here, bringing in another 2v2 on Heart of the Swarm, or not Heart of the Swarm, Starcraft 2. I do so many of those. So, here we go. In this order, this game is brought to you from Failjhm. His partner Zerg he's Quagmire. And their opponents are Ched in the top left as Terran and Leon's son in top left Protoss. I think these two have played before. I'm not sure. I think they did that in the first cast. So we're gonna take a look and see what's going on. Final on a 9, that's good. 2 and up. 3 more probes is fine. As long as you take one of those probes and you make one gateway with them. So Zerg doing a 12 pull, which I'm not much of a Zerg person or analyst. I'm not sure. Might have been a 10 pull. 10 pull sounds safer. 9 pull sounds okay, just by looking at how much he has in supply. So pile on down. Again, that's good to have that rally going. I like to see once one more goes in there, you need to move that back to the rally point. Queen on the way. And I'd like to see a little bit of scouting. That roach horn is kind of in a bad spot. No, not too bad of a spot. I mean, unless Reapers come in through here, that's dead. So the chances of that are pretty slim. Terran's got, a nice little wall here. Yep, fully walled off. I'd like to see this first Overlord at least do a scout. Or that, he's got the first. This one should be scouting up here. Two more probes being queued up there, which is good. You don't lose any mineral mining time. Good queue. Good queue. So that's good. Are the hotkeys? Okay. Okay, again, these lines need to be moved. This rally point needs to be moved back. I actually like to see hotkeys. I'm not sure if he has it to where he turned them off. But every time he's got hotkeys, and he's got no hotkeys. So these guys are playing without hotkeys. And this guy's Zealot, right? They're doing the same tactic. Yeah, it's the same team. They're doing the same tactic they did the last time, which is basically Zealot Marine Rush. And they're hoping that they cross spawn over here. And this Overlord's gonna tell them, oh, there's an army coming in. But there should be a telltale sign of creep. Oh, that would have been a free Overlord snipe right there. That would have been a free Overlord snipe. I'm surprised that he let that go. Yep, they're letting it go. You got a sentry with at least 2 force fields, or at least. Oh, by the time they get there, it'll be 2 force fields. I'd like to see a force field go down. Come on, force field. Force field. Force field. No. One. Oh, bad force field. Oh, the zealots aren't doing anything though. Pull back. Oh. Pull back. Pull back. You can kite everything. Stalkers can kite this entire army. Kite it, kite it, kite it. Oh man. Even roaches can kite a little bit. No. Oh no. This strategy might actually work. It's pretty much a Marine Zealot rush. Oh no. So if we go back to here. Now, I'm assuming that because one of the games I got from them was the same two people. Terran, Protoss, same deal. Normally when you play against people twice, you're going to try to do the same tactic the first time. Even if it fails, we're going to try again the second time. So depending on when these two games were played, so I'm assuming that they played it, this was the first time they've seen this tactic. Don't know. Let's take a look at the dialogue. So we'll look at that and then we'll hit play. So this sentry right here, I would never suggest Twilight if you can manage not to do it. Especially if you play people that are in 2v2s, your opponent's always gonna be aggressive right off the gate. You know, certain times they don't, but this sentry, if they could have force fielded 2 force fields to funnel up all these units, would have been really good. I would suggest, and then pulling back fire, pulling back fire, pulling back fire, pulling back fire. You would have never lost your stalkers, you know, as quickly. Pull back fire, pull back fire, pull back fire. And depending on how many larvae he has, 1. So that's no use. So pull back fire, pull back fire, pull back fire, pull back fire. So little few mistakes here and there. I would say just pull back fire, fire, because your stalkers would have easily been able to kite this. I would at least cancel this, even if it's more than halfway done. It would give you a little more resources in general. The force fields were late, so one force field, 2 force fields, or at least one. Could have cut off most of that army to funnel them in to where you guys just be wailing on them consistently, and then, you know, warping 1 more sentry, couple more stalkers, and you should be okay. I mean, you're right at this point in the game, you're pretty much saturated as you can get, and a little more saturation. I'd like to see some hotkeys on this, so that way, you know, I know your ally has at least 1 hotkey, which is fine. Zerg doesn't really need too many hotkeys. Mostly it's for army and hatcheries and queens and evo chambers. But for the other races, I like to see at least 1 hotkey on this, which, if you know, so that way you can always just keep clicking back to it, keep clicking back to it, keep clicking that, double tap back, double tap back, double tap back. So that way, while you're watching something else, you can just, for example, for my hotkeys, Nexus is always on 5, so it'd be 5E, 5E, 5E. So that way I'm always consistently building something. Um, and then the gateways will always be on my 6 key until they become warp gates, and I don't have to keep hitting 6. I just hit W, warp in, which is automatic anyways. So I'd like to see a little more of that. I'm sure Quagmire doesn't play Zerg too much, certain the timings of everything, because even still, like, if you've played these opponents before, a Baneling Nest would have done a lot more damage than a Roach Warren. Because at least with the Banelings, you can at least, if your partner has Stalkers, and only build Stalkers, that's okay, because that'll help kite the Zealots. But the Banelings can come in and start taking out the Marines as they stream in, while you take out Stalker after Zealot after Zealot after Zealot, one by one, as long as you're able to kite them back a bit. So if you're firing from here comes the Zealots running this way, you'll pull back a little bit, stop, it'll fire, pull back, stop, fire, stop, fire, stop, fire, stop, fire. You can keep running around in circles, kiting them until they die. So, I mean, you just gotta keep being able to pull that off, while your partner over here will keep making Lings and Banelings to deal with the Marines. Because once the Banelings make themselves noticeable, it's gonna make it really hard for the person that's doing the Marine rush to keep continuing it. Because now those Banelings are a threat, and if you can get a creep, at least a creep spread going this way, you would easily have stopped. Would easily be able to get Banelings to move all the way, around and start attacking everything. So, I mean, the Roach Warren is a good idea, but if you played these people before, I would suggest that you just go to tactics that you know will always stop this aggression. Even if your opponents are not going to do that aggression, be prepared for it. Just have some kind of a defense ready for it, so that way it stops this aggression. If you're playing a Zerg, I would go Baneling Nest beforehand to stop that. Roaches are okay because they do pretty good damage, but once they're off creep, and because they have no speed, it's really hard for them to kind of kite off creep. So Banelings will be a lot easier because they'll be able to get in. So a couple of Lings to kind of distract the Marines, and then Banelings to kind of swoop in at the last minute to take them out. So but anyways, everything else looked pretty good, even though it was a really short game, so I can't really tell how